Hello everyone, this is William K. Murtaugh, Mert Witness 1, and today we're going to discuss thumbs, trains, and automobiles. Rather weird subject, but considering that it has to do with Tim Holmseth, it fits right in. Also, we're going to discuss something else about Tim Holmseth. Right before I left today, I had a comment from someone on my previous video that kind of took issue with me speculating about all the infighting that's going on. And I respect their opinion, and they seem to think I was fanning the flames or something. I'm not quite sure, but the gist of the post was that the person was not happy with how I was handling the situation between these various parties. And lo and behold, it happened again right after I logged off my YouTube and came across the post that Tim Holmseth made today. And actually must have made within a half hour of me being online, because I wasn't there before. I was looking for something else and didn't see it, and all of a sudden this pops up. But I'll get into that in a minute. Let's get back to the thumbs, trains, and automobiles subject for a minute. Now, Tim Holmseth and Randy Q have been posting a set of pictures that showed Tim Holmseth in various locations. And, you know, it's probably the least important thing that Tim Holmseth ever put up. Now, one of the pictures shows Tim Holmseth in a phone booth, and there's a caption that he couldn't make the call because he couldn't pay a quarter. Well, in those days, if you needed to make a phone call, you didn't necessarily need a quarter. But I guess it was just kind of a little joke. But in case anybody doesn't remember the days of the big bulky coin phones where if you wanted to make a local call, you're stuck in a corner, and so forth. Before telephones became obsolete, there were things you could do to make a coinless call. You could call collect, you could bill the call, and so forth. There were a couple different ways that you could make a call without using any money at all. And then the coin phones kind of went obsolete, which is kind of funny because at a number of airports that I visited, there's these little silver telephones. And, you know, people used to think these phones were there for paging and stuff. And yeah, most airports do have what they call page phones. You get on the phone and you can page someone through an operator or through a system, and they'll, you know, tell them to call back that number that's on the phone, 2745 or something like that. While this particular airport, there's a silver phone, and the silver phone does not have a slot to put any money in it, because modern telephones that are provided by services don't accept cash. You use your debit card to pay for the call. You either put the thing in a slot just like you would at a store when you pay something if you happen to have a chip card, or you go through a convoluted process of punching in your credit card number. I think it's kind of dumb, but, you know, that's what they have at a number of these airports. You know, but to end this long ramble about the phone booth, you don't need a quarter. But it was a joke. And I understand it was a joke. Because the person making the call or taking the photograph obviously had a smartphone. If you know how to inspect photographs like I do, digital photographs, you can figure out a lot of things. And one of the things you can figure out is what took the picture. And this brings us to the picture of Tim Homseth standing in the middle of nowhere with his thumb up in the air, acting as if he's hitchhiking. Well, that's kind of, again, he can't be serious for the simple reason that why bother to take a selfie? First of all, the camera that took the picture, or the person that took the picture, was quite a distance from Tim Homseth. Minimum of 30, 40, maybe 50 feet. And, unless Tim Homseth went through the trouble of having a tripod to mount the phone in and somehow set off a timer, that means that his companion set off the image, took the picture. And then, of course, we have the Golden Gate Bridge. And that's just, Timothy in the passenger seat taking a picture with the phone. Or somebody else in the passenger seat taking a picture with the phone, because obviously he shouldn't be taking a picture while driving on the Golden Gate Bridge. Because in California, it's against the law, by the way. But, all in all, the pictures aren't important. But, he did say that, I'm on assignment again. Yeah, I think you're on an assignment to go to Las Vegas. I think I know where this is going. I'm going to wait and see before I say anything. But based on my analysis and the analysis of other people of that picture, I have a feeling Mr. Homseth is going to Las Vegas. But we'll wait and see. It's kind of interesting that he's using other people's money to be doing all these things, because, he still has his accounts. But, people are willing to pay him. Why not? Anyway. So he's on this mission. And he obviously got someplace to settle down, because he got on his little computer again, and his little laptop that he's using, to write another article. And he attacked somebody. Now, he doesn't particularly like the blogger going after Diane, helping her out. And he doesn't like the woman that's apparently got power of attorney to help with the situation on the house, trying to save the house. But something else came up. Now he has a beef with the person known as Eager Beaver, who is supposed to be the kingpin behind the Field Report. The owner of the Field Report. Now, remember, I've stated this before, that Field McConnell doesn't own the Field Report. He's a spokesman on the channel. But the person that owns the channel and has editorial control is the person known as Eager Beaver. Now, what apparently happened is that Q got mentioned, and the sound person, or Eager Beaver, muted the microphone, which means that Eager Beaver does not want Q mentioned on the Field Report. I found this a little weird, because Field is big on Q. He promoted him at one time. Now, all of a sudden, Eager Beaver mutes out anything that has to do with Q. So, either Eager Beaver or Field McConnell, or I guess just Eager Beaver, because Field McConnell mentioned him, so there must be something there. So Eager Beaver is taking the position that there is not going to be any support or mention of Q. Now I find rather interesting. at least if this statement by Tim Holmseth is true, that any mention of Q is being censored because that's a big thing with Tim Holmseth, it's a big thing with Randy and some of these other people. They're constantly talking about Q. And, Q had a thing up there, game over. And I'm not sure if that had to do with the Tim Holmseth article or something else. Trying to figure out what everybody's doing with this Q nonsense is kind of a head scratcher, but that's where we're at in this little game. So, we have this new area of conflict. It seems like it's a daily situation where a new bone of contention comes up, something else new to complain about, and so forth. And I thought it was rather cute that one of the comments that was made in the picture section of all things was people are going to wait and see how I react on this video to what Tim has been doing on his little trip across the country. Well, now they know. I really don't care all that much, except for it seems a little bit weird that somebody hitchhiking would take a selfie of themselves. And it's a little weird that Tim would be taking a picture of himself hitchhiking when he's not. It's obvious if you take the pictures and put them together as a set that he's either the driver or the passenger in a car. Because in the picture in the phone booth, you can see the car in the background. And you can read the plate. If you have good enough software, you can actually at least tell the state where the car is from, and it's not where they're located. It's in the state of Minnesota. So that kind of gave away that one. So, it's basically gave me something to talk about. Because, when the most important thing about Tim Holmseth, A, writing another BS conspiracy theory, B, taking a bunch of pictures of himself, and C, pissing and moaning about Q, that's a good sign that the importance of Tim Holmseth is fading quite fast. He is trying his damnedest to come up with things to keep him in the limelight, and it's just not working. Because if I pull the plug on giving him any attention at all, he's gonna disappear. Because I'm the only thing saving him. I'm the only one giving him anything to try and counter. Without me, he's done. Now he did get into a joke about the handlers. I thought, I think he's paying attention to the fact that we all realize that there are people controlling them. And the proof of this is that he's dependent on whoever has that car. Because if that person decided, well, you're just too crazy for me, I'm going to leave you in this hotel, good luck, goodbye, and take off, he's sitting there without a car. And so Tim Holmseth is dependent on others for everything. For his food, for his lodging, access to the internet, and a way to get around. Now the car he's in is silver or gray. It's not white. So that means he's not in the car that everybody says he owns. The Nissan Rogue. The car he's in is an entirely different brand of car. So, being a car dealer, I know how to identify cars even by looking at the hood. And he's not in the Nissan. So, he's dependent on people. he cannot be independent, which means he's being handled. That's why he's gallivanting around the United States and not visiting his son or his daughter or his grandchildren. He's sightseeing, pretending he's on some kind of a secret mission, which he's not. He's working for an organization that doesn't exist, which is this pitiful Pentagon task force. And the Children's Crusade, which is nothing more than a crusade to part people from their money. So, all in all, Tim Holseth is just another useful idiot for a bunch of crackpots. And hopefully they'll take more pictures, because I like to see what the... I like to, it gives, it's entertainment value, if anything. If anybody can get word to Tim Holseth, ask him to unblock his Facebook page so I can read this crap. The little coward blocked me because somebody on his channel was making death threats against me. I thought that was kind of strange. But, that means I don't have access to his Facebook page, and I have to rely on others to send me the material, even when I'm not asking for it, about all these little stunts he's pulling. That'd be nice. I mean, if he didn't want to, he doesn't want to, but it would make life a lot easier, because then I'm not having to wait around for somebody else to send me the material. Which is what happened today. Somebody pointed out this article he did on his Facebook channel, and then of course it gets spread to all the other Facebook channels. So the blocking is kind of counterproductive, but that's up to him. I don't care. Continues to block me, I'll just, I'll get it the way I've been getting it, with the help of other people. There's an expression a woman used to use years ago that says, I can get around a block. And you can get around Facebook blocks. It's not that hard. You just gotta know how to do it. I don't care, but people do it, and I get the material. I'm not gonna turn it down. So there's that. So to me, he's on his little fake mission. Now, there's been a development on the woman that Monty talked about on his show a couple days ago. The Stella person that's running for Congress and got held up at a hotel, and Monty went through finding out if she was safe or not. And that is that there is a group out there who don't like this woman. And they have a blog. I came across it doing some research. And they also have a Twitter account. And they're looking for information on Stella. They want to get her arrested because she is running around with a bench, just like Timothy Holseth. There's a warrant out for her arrest. And what we don't know right now is whether or not that warrant is extraditable. By that, is it a felony warrant? Is it a misdemeanor warrant? What kind of order did the judge put down with the warrant? I haven't had time to do research into that. Friday, I may take some time and I may research it. But this woman might as well give up her race. Number one, because the person she's running against is very popular. And number two, she's got a lot of baggage here. This criminal record's not going to go very far for her. Now, all she's doing is she's taking this $85,000, allegedly, and spending it on hotel rooms. Because it's come out that her campaign manager, allegedly, is paying for her being on the lam. He's paying her hotel rooms and so on and so forth. Even though he charged her $15,000 to be his campaign manager, her campaign manager. So that's kind of an interesting story there. With this lady. Now, getting on to the Abzug situation, there has not been much news there. I haven't heard a thing about that case in the past few days. I would think that we're in a holding pattern while the case gets closer to being heard in court. I don't know if she's back in Colorado, if that process has been done, or she still has to go through the legal process of getting out of Montana and then dealing with whatever she's going to deal with when she gets back to Colorado, and whether or not she's going to cooperate with authorities in bringing justice to those who put her in this situation to begin with. This gallivanting all over the East Coast and Midwest, evading this arrest warrant. And as far as Ms. Dunklin is concerned, I believe she filed paperwork contesting the restraining order. But there's kind of a mix-up in that one, because apparently this is not the first time she's been hit with one of these. This is the second time. And the first one was denied. So this is the second time. When I first heard someone tell me this, I thought maybe she beat this, which would have been a surprise considering the amount of damage that was against her. But no, it turned out to be a mix-up between a past restraining order and the current one. The current one's going to be heard on February 26th. So she still has not seen her child, is unable to contact her child because of the court order. So that's going to have to be dealt with on the 26th. So that basically is what's being waited on. And virtually nothing has been heard from the woman with the 5 kids. I don't know where that one's going. I have not checked to see what's going on with Northwest Liberty News, who seems to be on top of this stuff. So that may be something I'll be doing in the next few days. But basically, everything is on hold. Phil McConnell is still in jail. And again, it's probably going to be a while before he's brought back to Florida, because of what I've stated before. All the bureaucracy that's got to be done. So, not going to be much of a drive-a-thon today, because there really isn't a damn thing to talk about. There's nothing really important other than there seems to be this rift going on with Eager Beaver, which ought to be interesting, because if Tim Helmsath and Eager Beaver are at odds with each other, Tim is basically done. Because Eager Beaver apparently is at the center of all this. He makes all the decisions, and if he decides that Tim Helmsath is not useful anymore, Tim Helmsath is done. He might as well pack it up. Because Eager Beaver's going to say, we cut all ties with Tim Helmsath, we want nothing to do with Tim Helmsath, so on and so forth, and that'll be that. And that day is fast approaching, because there has been nothing out of Phil McConnell in over a week. We're going on 10, 11 days where Phil McConnell hasn't said anything. And the field report hasn't been doing anything. Now, Dr. Goodvise apparently has been around doing his thing. But Eager Beavers, according to Tim Helmsath, is putting a damper on him talking about Q as well. put the damper on Field talking about Q, and he put the damper on the good doctor talking about Q. Now, that's rather strange because this means that Field McConnell is not in control of his own channel, and neither is Dr. Olson or anybody else. It's all Eager Beaver. It's his empire, which is what I've contended all along, that there are people behind all this controlling everything. And it turns out it's Eager Beaver. Everybody said it was Eager Beaver. And we get more and more and more proof every day. And if what Tim Holseth says is true, then it's going to be Eager Beaver that's going to determine the fate of everybody. Going to determine the fate of Phil McConnell, Tim Holseth, and a bunch of other people. You know, he can throw these people to the wolves if he wants, which I think is going to happen. I think Eager Beaver is assessing what to do right now. Because Eager Beaver doesn't seem to be as eager about Q as everybody else. He has different things in mind. Even Eager Beaver thinks that Q is too far out there to be a suitable talking point for the Children's Crusade and the Field Report and all this other stuff. And so I look very soon to seeing some changes come about at the hands of Eager Beaver. I would think that there's going to be somebody else coming out of the woodwork that's slowly going to edge in there and take over the reins of the Field Report, and that the Field Report will turn into something else. As the Field Report's no longer a viable brand. If it was a viable brand, Eager Beaver could figure out a way to take advantage of it. It's just like, I'm reminded of a car dealer here in Orlando. It used to be Jay's Used Cars. And for years, it was a going business. It was a small dealership, but it had a reputation. And it turned out that the original owner, Jay, had been dead for decades. I didn't know that, and then until I happened to meet the new owner, or met the current owner of the company at the time. But Jay's Used Cars wasn't operated by Jay's. The guy just kept the name, kept the license. It was cheaper that way. And then, as the years went by and the neighborhood changed and demographics changed and everything, there was no longer a reason to keep the name Jay's Used Cars, and it was dropped. The property was sold to the dealership next door, and they just expanded the lot. And so Jay's Used Cars no longer exists. And it's going to be the same with the Field Report. The Field Report's losing its value. Losing its draw. Because every time Field McConnell loses a battle, people get discouraged. They begin to understand that Field McConnell is not who he says he is. He's not the personal friend or associated in any way, shape, or form with President Trump. And they begin to, more and more people, all in a day, one, two at a time, are beginning to realize that they've been sandbagged. They've been taken for fools by Field and those around them, and they leave. And it's this siphoning off of people that used to support Field McConnell and the cause. Eager Beaver has to see that the numbers are dwindling. And if this is a money-making enterprise for Eager Beaver, he has to figure out a way to get that revenue back, to get it up to a sustainable level. And that means he's got to find someone to replace Field McConnell. He's got to find somebody that he can control. Now, perhaps Tim Holmstead thought he was going to be the replacement. But Tim Holmstead just shot himself in the foot because he's proving that he can't be controlled, that he won't follow instructions, that if Eager Beaver says that this is what you're going to talk about, this is what you're going to concentrate on, Tim Holmstead is going to go off in his own little world. I think that's what happened with Phil McConnell. I think this business with Kim was Phil McConnell going off script. And Eager Beaver began to realize that there's a problem here. You know, because Phil McConnell's going rogue and he's screwing everything up. And I think that while Eager Beaver's been allowing this stuff to take place, even after Phil McConnell wound up in prison, Eager Beaver said, well, I will use Phil McConnell as a martyr until we decide what we're going to do about it. And I think the point of decision is getting closer every day. I think Eager Beaver's probably working on a plan to get Phil McConnell out of the picture and get a replacement. And depending on who he gets and what kind of arrangements are made, the timetable is either going to be quite rapid or it's going to be a fade-in. Now, if it turns out he's able to get a dynamic individual that can really get the numbers up there, then it'll be a quick changeover. If it's someone he has to groom, work on, get in the groove, so to speak, it may mean more of a subtle transition. Someone's going to be in the background making commentary, kind of as a test to see if he or she is going to be a worthy replacement, and then the grooming is going to start. The training is going to start to make the talent, as it's usually known in a case like this, in a position where they're going to be able to fit in to Phil McConnell's spot and take over. And that's creating something of a power play. Because those around Eager Beaver who want to be the new Phil McConnell are probably lobbying for it. You know, they're trying to work Eager Beaver to get in place for the takeover. Now, Eager Beaver may just decide that this isn't worth all the trouble, that this thing is falling apart, and then he's going to need to go and find something else to do, and he just shuts everything down. Because that's a possibility. As Eager Beaver's got a problem. A lot of people around Phil McConnell, around Tim Homseth, and these various groups are into Q. Their lives center around Q. Q runs everybody's lives in this group. You can't do anything unless you figure out what Q wants you to do. And so whatever road Eager Beaver wants to travel down, apparently the Q portion of that road is not important. He wants to do something different. And so he's going to say, the heck with all this crap. You know, he may just scrap the whole thing and say, I'm going to go out and I'm just going to make a living a different way. Do something else. Hard to say. You know, you kind of wonder why Eager Beaver started all this in the first place. It's probably the dumbest idea I've ever seen. I mean, you know, it was viable for a while, and, you know, there's money there. There's money in conspiracy theorists. This is what made Coast to Coast America so popular. It's because people listen to dumb shit like this. I used to listen to it. Thought it was dumb, but I listened to it. You know, when you're a truck driver, and the days I was driving, and all you got is an AM radio, and it's a big station like WLS that puts shows like this on the air. You know, you don't have much of a choice, so you listen to it. And it got to, you know, Coast to Coast America, I got to the point where I said, the hell with this. I mean, this stuff is dumb. But the Eager Beaver enterprise is just another example of it. And he likes his conspiracy theories. It's a quick buck. People throw money at this because they love Trump, they hate Clinton. And so if you come up with something where it's against Clinton and for Trump and against the deep state, people throw money at you. And that's what's going on here. It's blind loyalty to a cause. And people like Eager Beaver take advantage of it. Because it's funny, a lot of these people don't care less about what they're talking about. They don't care at all about the subjects they talk about. It's a means to an end. It's the way to make money. You know, when they turn out the golden microphone, they leave those police and move on. The only time their police, so to speak, come up is if they have to promote them as part of their contract. Otherwise, they just live a totally different life. So, but we have now basically a big pause button being pressed because there is really nothing going on that is of vital importance. You know, we go through this daily event of the day where Tim says or does something stupid. We count the days that Bill McConnell's in jail, awaiting extradition to Florida, and then when he gets to Florida, we'll start a new category. And, you know, that's that. Now, I do want to bring something up. Had something happen yesterday, day before. That kind of annoyed me. You know, and this guy who was coming into my room, and everything was fine and dandy. You know, he didn't like Tim, he didn't like Phil, and so on and so forth, or so I thought. And last night, I got a private message, and all of a sudden, I'm getting anti-Kim propaganda. And he sent this long, convoluted post, and he sent some other stuff, highly critical of me, which I don't mind criticism, but the way he did it was a little annoying. And I was trying to figure out what set this guy off. And as it turns out, it was my Facebook account. You know, I use Facebook as generally my personal page. I do some posting of stuff that I put on YouTube on there because there's a few people on Facebook that follow me on this channel. But everybody knows my political leanings. At least they should. But this guy took issue with it. And he retaliated by the way he did things on my channel and in direct message. Now, the reason I am on YouTube and doing what I'm doing has nothing to do with our political standing. Now, if I do state that the reason a lot of people are following Phil McConnell and Tim Holseth and so forth is because they support Trump, it is because that's what's happening. Tim Holseth and Phil McConnell are taking advantage of those in this political spectrum. That doesn't mean people are gullible, at least not everybody, but people believed in what they were talking about and they followed them. And this is why, until people started to wake up, they got away with this stuff. But it doesn't mean that somebody from the other side politically can't help point this out and stop the scamming that these people are involved in and stop the attacks that these people are engaged in. A political belief should not guide people whether or not they are going to fight for the truth. If we can't set aside our political differences for the cause of truth, then we're done. I might as well shut the channel down, because people are going to start deciding whether or not they want to join and subscribe to my channel based on my political philosophy. And any truth that we try to strive for, any way of realizing what Field McConnell and Tim Homseth and these others are doing, is going to go by the wayside. So that, let's set our political differences to the side. Don't judge me by what I put on Facebook that has to do with a political opinion. I'm not going to do it to anybody else. I mean, there's people on here that I have a big difference with politically. But I don't want to bring that in here. I want to keep it that we're going to go after the scammers, the people that are taking advantage of the beliefs that people have, because they're doing it on the other side. I go through the same situation with people on the other side, but I don't put it on this channel because I don't want to get so far afield on combating this situation that, we just get completely disorganized. We have to kind of stay on this one thing at a time deal, where we're going after one situation at a time, because my primary reason for being here is because of the problems that I have with Tim Homseth. This war that I've had with Tim Homseth for over 10 years, and the frauds and the lies that have come out of this man in all these years, and the ways he keeps coming up with generating interest and income. Because in the end, that's what Tim Homseth wants. He has to pay for what he's doing, especially these road trips. And money's got to come from someplace. Either from the person that's driving him around, or is accompanying him, or with the people online, or a combination of both. Tim has to earn a living somehow. And he's doing it by taking advantage of a political belief. Whether he believes in this stuff or not. He may be against socialism and all this other stuff, but that's what's keeping him alive at the moment. He's the beneficiary of a socialist program, as people like to label this stuff, and that is Social Security. He is on Social Security because he refuses to go out and get a paying job. And he's taking donations, probably not paying any taxes on this stuff. Or the money is somehow he's keeping it to where he's not making any money, as far as the IRS is concerned. But, he's not paying any taxes. And he's certainly not visiting his family. What's his son up to while he's running all over the country? His son's back with his mother, because his father finds it more important to be running around on this adventure that he's on, and his son's kind of left in the dark, left in the dust. So that's how much Tim Homseth is thinking about his son and his grandchildren. I kind of have to wonder if the grandchildren aren't saying, "Where's Grandpa? Why aren't we seeing more of Grandpa?" And, the daughter has to say, "Well, he's on assignment." That's just... You learn to see what people's priorities are by how they live. And doing the hobo thing around the country kind of says a lot about Tim Holseth. And for someone who is supposed to be the spokesperson for the pedophile task force and the Children's Crusade, and real buddy-buddy with the President of the United States, he's not capable of drawing any kind of a salary. You know, he's basically working for free. You know, people don't take that into account. People don't take the time to understand that if this man had anything at all to do with the President of the United States, he wouldn't be hitchhiking around the country or gallivanting around the country with some unknown benefactor. He'd be on a government payroll, he'd have a government-issued vehicle, and he'd be in a standard of living where he wouldn't have to beg for money on Patreon. But people aren't going to, the people that are the faithful to Tim Holseth aren't going to take the time to use their common sense and realize that they're being sandbagged, because it would shame them. It would shame them to know that they're allowing themselves to be made fools of, so they can't face that. They have to hide behind the plan. Trust the plan. That seems to be the motto of these Q turds. Is, oh, we gotta trust the plan. Q knows. Q's got the secret. And Q, wherever he or they are laughing their asses off because they've been able to sandbag a gullible public with this garbage, with all these codes and things that they do, and the battle with the deep state. And it's probably some Russian dude, 20-something Russian over there, collecting his 1,000 rubles a month to type garbage on a computer. Because we seem to be a gullible public, and it's happening on all sides. There's foreign operatives that are screwing us up on all ways. I mean, they're going after the Democrats, they're going after the Republicans. They want to build up a distrust of our government, and they're succeeding. But that's my take on all this. You know, those of you who believe in the deep state, well, there's no arguing with it. That's why I don't bring politics into this. As much as I can avoid it. You know, it's going to seep in every once in a while like it just did, but I try to keep it at bay, and I'm certainly not going to start banning people because they don't agree with me politically. But what I will do is if I start seeing the kind of crap coming in comments that came in that I had to ban the person, I'll do it. Because I'm not gonna go back to what it was when I had my channel 10 years ago, where I had all these people coming in and disrupting things. The purpose of this channel is to point out the scammers, regardless of their affiliation. If they're scamming people and I can prove that they're scamming people, and those that provide me the information can prove that they're scamming people, we'll talk about it. We'll expose them, because that's the purpose. But I'm not going to get into political arguments, and I'm not going to have people trashing my channel because I happen to have a political philosophy that's different than theirs. You know, if you don't like me because of my politics, you don't belong here. If if you're going to judge me based on my politics, which isn't a governing thing of my life, I mean, I may be leaving things and have opinions, but that's not my guiding force in life. I say, fine, I believe this, but I live my life, and I don't let politics control it. But if people can't set their politics aside for the mission at hand, then they don't need to be here. I'm going to be covering the trial of Field McConnell. That's what's on the board. And we're going to go through the process with Field McConnell. And when Field McConnell is adjudicated, and if he's found guilty, we'll go in one direction. If he's acquitted, we'll go in another direction. And then once Phil McConnell is no longer an important topic, I'll try and find something else to talk about. But I'd like to keep on topic if I can. Kind of get away from this division. Let us be a channel where we can come together for a common cause instead of being divided because of one belief or another. Because that's a house divided shall not stand means exactly that. We have a chance perhaps to make a difference, but at least to make people aware of certain things, of the false promises that people are making out there, of the skimming of people's money under false pretenses, these pretend organizations, these children crusades, these pedophile task forces. So we have a chance to make people aware of just how fraudulent these entities are, and to prevent people from getting involved in this nonsense, and to prevent a Cynthia Abzug to get themselves in a situation to where they may face jail time and the loss of their children because they believe in these people. That maybe these people will find a better avenue to solve their problems than these charlatans who are going to fill them full of false hope. That's all I want. That's why I created the philosophical entity known as the Task Force for Truth. Basically a non-existent organization, but a definition of a goal. Because that's all the Task Force for Truth is. It's a goal. There's no board of directors, there's no meetings, there's no LLC filings or any of that. It's just a concept. It's a little bit like Anonymous. It's an idea. People can join the Task Force for Truth simply by being somebody that wants the truth. And they don't have to request a membership form or go through a process. They just do it. They can form a task force and call it whatever they want as long as it's legitimate. Because truth is truth, no matter whether you want to believe it or not. You can either accept the truth or you can't. And there's people out there that are not going to accept the truth about certain things because of the political beliefs of the person providing the truth. Or someone that believes in a certain issue that provides proof of the truth that they're telling. And that's a mistake, because truth is truth. You can't deny truth. You can ignore it, you can refuse to accept it, but you can't deny it. It's there. You can't change it. That's what people have to start to realize, is that you have to set aside your political and philosophical differences and accept the truth. And that's how you'll win. This is what people have to do in the case of Timothy Charles Holmseth. They have to accept the truth. And the truth is that Tim Holmseth is a liar. He's a fraud. He's taken advantage of a political belief, of a philosophical belief, for his own purposes, for his own little fantasy world. He's not out there saving children or anything else. He's out there making a name for himself, making money off of other people. He's making, he's just a fool. He manipulates people, he fools people, and he takes advantage of their compassion. So, need to tell the truth about Holmseth. We need to start getting people to accept the truth about Holmseth. And to spread the truth about Tim Holmseth and ignored the man. Because in the end, the lack of attention will cause him to fade away. People will just understand that he's not a viable source of information. He's a liar and he's a fraud. And he'll fade away into oblivion. And this is what's going to happen to Field McConnell. Field McConnell, every day, is getting less and less worthy of people's attention. Every day he's not on the air. Every day he sits in that jail. Fewer and fewer people are paying attention to him. Because we are a current event society. We're after the here and now. We're after what's happening right now. You know, once something is the past, it's the past. Because you look back and see what we were talking about two weeks ago in the mainstream topics, we're not talking about those things anymore. We've moved on. You know, we're talking about different things now. And it's going to be the same with Phil McConnell and Tim Homseth and these others. There's no telling where we're going to be 6 months from now. I may be doing something completely different 6 months from now. It's hard to say. You know, I made this business with the Murdathons and From the Desk, Witness One Live, and the Task Force for Truth may be a temporary thing that goes away. Because I'll have to work to keep it viable. I'll have to come up with something to keep everybody's attention out there and to build this channel. If I can't do that, then that's the way it goes. Because I'm not the channel. You're the channel. My audience, the subscribers, you're the channel. It's your channel, not mine. I just put it here. You know, I sit here and shoot my mouth off for an hour a day, and then on my murdathons on the weekend. But it's you that make the show. You show up, you watch, you listen, you offer input, positive, negative. It's all you. That's what people need to remember that run these channels. Because it's the audience that drives the show. It's the audience that controls the show. Because if the audience decides that you're not worth their time, they're going to leave you in the dust. And that's what I have to remember on every day. I can't let this show go to my head. I can't sit there and say, I've got 600, 6,000, 60,000 subscribers. I can't let that go to my head, because the minute I do, I self-destruct. And that's what people like Tim Homseth should have learned. Is that you have to engage. You have to understand what it is that people want to hear. And right now, people want to hear the truth. They want honesty. They want someone that's going to be upfront and straight with them. That they know that when someone gives them something as a fact, that they can rely on it. And if someone speculates and gives an opinion, that they know that person is going to be clear on that's what they're doing. They're stating an opinion or they're speculating. They're not offering it as fact. And that's what I try to do. I try to give you the truth. And when I speculate or give an opinion, I try to make it clear that I'm speculating and giving an opinion. But I also give the advice to go check. Go look at those channels that I criticize. You know, read what Tim Homseth writes about. Listen to Field McConnell or all these other people. Absorb what they're saying and then judge for yourself. Are these people telling the truth, or are they taking advantage of you? And set your biases aside. That's the important thing here. You know, just put your political beliefs to one side and see if these people are telling the truth or they're taking advantage of your philosophies. If they're reeling you in based on your belief in Trump or your hate for Trump or your belief in this political person or the hate of this political person, that's what you have to do. You have to put your biases on hold and see what exactly these people are saying and if it's the truth or not and what they're doing. That's how you find the truth. You look for the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. And that way you will find the truth. And then when you find the truth, you have to accept the truth and deal with it appropriately. So, until later, this is William K. Murtaugh, Mert Witness 1. Have a good one.